Phillips.
Yes.
Stricker.
Here.
McCarrigan. Here. Solomon.
Here.
You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review.
Yes. Here.
McCarrigan. Here. Solomon.
We got some new technology over here, so.
We'll work through that.
Yeah. Is that your camera?
That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's all right.
He does have a new device over there we're trying out, so.
Notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk.
No changes.
Okay. Citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda. As required by state law, no matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. Do we have any emergency action? No? Closed session. Council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary if the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. Public comments. The purpose of this agenda item is to allow for public comment of items for potential discussion at a future council meeting. Do we have any public comments? Okay. Consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separate.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay,
Phillips.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes. Public hearings. Council to conduct a public hearing set for this date at 6 p.m. to receive information regarding the Class M Bottle Club liquor license for TNA Investments LLC, DBA Billiards Unlimited, 1223 3rd Avenue, Scottsbluff. I'll open the public hearing.
Terry?
I opened this as a simple, fun little business, and now because of a liquor license, it's turned into more than I anticipated. G&T Billiards is really designed off of the concept of a 24/7 fitness club. The only difference is you can go, instead of exercising, you're exercising to a point, you're going in and playing a lot of pool. It's a place for people to practice. What gave me the idea was I've got what's called a Husker room, which is my own personal place slash my office. And when I quit drinking, I got tired of going to the bar all the time. And I was inviting people over to play pool and stuff, and they liked it so well, they was asking me for my door codes to my building. And I was like, this is my office. Sorry, no. So I come up with this idea, and not thinking that I needed a liquor license. Kind of was based off of my Husker room, bring your own beer, we play some pool, having some fun. Well, what changed the concept is when I charged a membership charge. At least that's what the State Patrol been explained to me as he was writing me a citation. So I'm seeking this so I can continue on with the business. I've learned a lot about the license and stuff. I had a simple one-page little membership agreement, and that is now converted to a little over three-page membership agreement dealing with alcohol aspects from minors to hours of operation and stuff. I worked off of a membership agreement of one business that is in the state of Nebraska, formulated off of that was in agreements with the city of Omaha and the Liquor Commission. I also had Andy Snyder review the agreement that I brought in this evening. Captain Brass also had gone through that same agreement, and prior to me even talking to Tommy, and thought it was a pretty good agreement. What she really liked was the fact that you can't take alcohol into the place between after bar hours of 1 o'clock in the morning and before 6 o'clock in the morning. So I guess with that being said, any questions or comments?
Hey, Terry, you reported a conviction for unlawful alcohol consumption with no license. Is that a conviction or is that pending?
That's pending.
That's
and
pending,
that
so
was
it's not a
what,
conviction.
yes, that is what was just what brought all this on.
Okay, I just wanted to.
It's still pending.
Yeah, it's pending.
How do you monitor, like, if there's minors in there?
Well, you can bring minors in, but they have to, minors cannot get a membership. They have to be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or an adult, somebody that has a membership. So far, since I've been open in September, I've only had 3 minors in there, and all 3 minors was with their parents.
Okay,
But no members get a membership. You cannot walk up and ring the doorbell and get in. That happened while I was in Mexico. My phone went off. I answered the phone and I had a couple members in there. They opened the door, questioned what appeared to them as to be teenagers, whether they were members or not, knowing that I have a small membership, knowing that these kids were not members and was not known to be guests of a member because they weren't their guests. They were turned away and asked to leave.
so it's the adults that have to monitor whether or not the minors are consuming alcohol?
Yes. And it's stated within the membership agreement too, that it's their responsibility and not to give them any alcohol.
Mayor? Could I ask a follow-up question to that? So if there was an instance where there was a couple minors in there and you have your doorbell, how did they get in to begin with?
They would have had to have get in by their key fob as a member.
No, the minors.
They didn't get in.
They didn't get in.
Is how I
I
understood
thought I
that.
just heard you say they did.
No, what they
Just
did,
temporarily, but they got in the door is what I heard.
yes, they got in, the member that was in there opened the door, but made them leave.
Oh, okay. Okay. Makes sense. And I have an overarching question maybe for this. So as I read the kind of the application of questions that you have to acknowledge and answer, one of them here, it's the top of page 202 of 304. It says, if I am an individual applicant, I will supervise in person the management and operation of the business and operate the business authorized by the license for myself and not as an agency for any other person or entity. So I get that in you're an individual doing this. And you just described being in Mexico when something happened. So how, I'm trying to say in my mind, maybe as a question for the attorney, city attorney, I don't know. How does supervising in person equate to managing this from a phone in Mexico?
Well, it sounds like the applicant's relying on the membership agreement and the members. It's just like any other licensee or manager, you're not there 24/7 when they sell at retail. So I believe his response is that it's in the agreement, the members are bound by the agreement. And, you know, it's physically impossible for someone to be at a premises that's licensed 24/7. So that's how he's gonna supervise and manage, I guess. You're asking me, that's my answer.
I-
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to decipher if it's just meeting a concept or if it's actually a useful.
Well, it's obviously a concept because it's physically impossible
Yeah,
for one person to be there every day, every hour of the day.
so, I understand that we make recommendations to the state liquor board. I just can't imagine how they would approve under that condition. I'm,
If you take it literally, you mean? That you're
yeah,
there all the time?
how about practically?
Yeah,
Jerry, we have liquor license holders that are out of state, that don't even live in the state, but they provide superintendents over those licenses.
Via employees or by,
Managers.
we should know,
some procedure.
Yeah.
pardon me?
Yeah, they have procedures in place in which to supervise and to regulate the activities on their licensed premise.
But like physical people there or through phone
No,
apps?
they're not there all the time.
This particular business is gonna be unstaffed. There's not gonna be
Yeah.
an employee there, if that's what you mean. But Terry is gonna give superintendents and
Yeah.
manage it.
I understand, I just don't know how reasonable it is to expect, as Kent said, how to expect somebody to be 24/7, 365, to do it in the way I think that overall the laws are intended to do. I'm not a liquor license expert, I'm just trying to apply some practicality and common sense to the thing. I just think with the membership, it seemed like in the supervision, there's an opportunity to perhaps over-occupy the place, and with juveniles. And I was wondering if there was room or any consideration of, at the very least, making it just adult 21 without minors.
No, for the simple fact that one of my goals was with this is people like the non-bar atmosphere per se. I'd like to get a junior league going. Getting a junior league going is to, okay, pool players do age out or get burned out. To bring younger generation in, it's kind of like going to school and learning wrestling or football. I mean, playing pool is a sport. Go do it for 8 hours a day. You'll see you'll get tired.
And so I kind of read I did read the reports from the police department. Development Services mentioned there's not enough parking on site. So is there enough parking on street and on site to accommodate what would typically be? There was no answer to that other than it doesn't comply.
That's an issue that will be worked through. It doesn't have a great deal to do with what we're doing here tonight. It's a separate issue, but
It's all part of the big picture, though.
there could be enough parking there. We're gonna have to look. There could be some parking. There's actually a driveway that drives down into the basement. There's some area down there that could be counted as parking. There's currently 5 spaces. He needs 10. The off-street parking that backs out onto the street can't be counted. So, but that's something we're working through.
Oh, okay.
And that'll go towards the certificate of occupancy. But not a lot to do with this liquor license.
Okay.
How long have you operated the facility?
Opened in September,
It's up to this new.
yes.
Okay. And there's only a few of these in the state?
There's only one.
One, okay.
There's 6 bottle club permits, but only 1 billiards hall.
Okay.
You wanna know what the other 5 are?
No. Has there have been no issues since you've been open in September?
No, I've had none. I had one guy that got a little belligerent one night, not with just other members, but he got a little mouthy with me, and I just looked at him and I said, "This is your first warning." Well, they used other words, but yeah, I explained to him that I had to say something again, he would not come back.
I'd have one more question for the applicant, and I know it's not relative directly, specifically part of the liquor license consideration, but it's a factor in that. What was this the building, the facility previously?
Tri-State Roofing's offices,
Okay.
at AA Place, a variety of businesses.
And was there any process to go through a change of occupancy use or character of the building when you opened in September? And were there inspections?
No.
Do you have any feedback from the building point of view, the building or fire? Any feedback from them like we did with the police or development services?
Well, the police the fire department come in and did their inspection for occupancies and for the liquor commission that required it. And told me I had an occupancy permit of 49,
Okay.
which is too many.
Captain Brass, you reviewed everything, and I think you gave a positive recommendation.
I have some suggestions.
Is Terry done?
Do you have anything else
Stay
to add,
close to
Terry?
it.
Okay, so previously, some of the concerns were the minors, over-serving, day passes, if that would count as an actual membership or not, and then it not being manned. So, as Terry said, Cloud9 Billiards in Omaha also has a Class M bottle permit. Any other place that's ever had one has been a strip club. And they don't seem to last very long. I don't know a few different reasons why that happened, but for the billiards hall, he's had it for about a year, and they've only had one incident where someone overserved themselves. That he has a one-strike policy for any kind of behavior like that, so that person, their membership was terminated, and he's not had any problems since. I was able to confirm with the liquor clerk for the city of Omaha that they have not had problems there. They have not had any police presence there for incidents inside the facility or anything like that. I talked to the owner quite a few times, actually, just to kind of see how he is being successful and not having a lot of problems. A couple of things, he honors bar hours, and so I thought that was a big thing for us. You know, I don't think anyone wanted it to turn into after the bar closes down, you go and continue on, because I think that over-serving may be an issue in that. But Terry was pretty willing to, I feel like, make a lot of adjustments just to accommodate what we asked. In addition to that, the Cloud9 minors have to be accompanied by a parent. It's not like just an adult member, it's a parent. So he does have some families that play pool together. He talked about doing a junior pool league, but his intention for that was maybe that would be Tuesday nights from this time to this time, and no one is allowed to bring alcohol within those hours. I think that in his agreement, and probably in Terry's to it, there's some language about being able to, the manager being able to change certain things from time to time. And I think that was one of them, just the honoring that junior pool league and not having alcohol in there during those events. He does something kind of interesting. Instead of a fob entry, he uses mobile credentials. So it's kind of like a two-step verification. He feels like maybe people would let someone use their fob, but you're not going to give up your phone probably for someone to take and use. So that's how he does the credentials. And then he doesn't do any alcohol promotion inside the facility. So no posters, bar signs, anything like that, because he also has very expensive pool tables, and his goal isn't to have just, you know, wild drunk people in there damaging property. Again, the one strike rule, and then he immediately revokes their membership. And then he just has a grayed out decal on his door, no bright signs, because his intention is he doesn't want to draw a bunch of attention where, you know, someone just happens to be in town, oh, I could go play pool here. He wants to kind of keep it quiet, so it really is just membership only, and he doesn't worry about people trying to come in or get someone to open the door for them. And I think for Terry, a benefit is the location. I don't think you're gonna have that high traffic where someone would just be walking by and say, hey, what's this place? You kind of have to know it was there to know it was there. And then from a law enforcement perspective, I wondered how compliance checks would work. And so the statute is pretty loose for these, and it talks about having an available list that you have to make available by court order. So my thought was, if we're gonna do a compliance check, does that mean we're gonna have to get a search warrant every time? Cause I feel like that just seems a little bit wild.
I think the statute says that we cannot turn over those names without a court order or a subpoena. But we can get access to
And
the
examine it?
membership anytime
Okay.
we go into
Okay.
the facility.
So for Cloud9, what they do is he has just a spreadsheet. And then he keeps all of the applications like in a file folder, and then it's locked on premise, so that's his intention when they do to come compliance check, he'll just have the folder available and give that to the officers. Those are my biggest things, I guess, the minors, if he was willing to honor bar hours, and then our availability to that list of members.
And so, some of the other things that you mentioned that the guy in Omaha said that I don't think I read in here or remember reading in the packet was the one strike. I think you have 3 strikes.
It's literally designed off of, it's almost verbatim for his
Yep.
same, I mean, all the change pricing, names, addresses.
It was a like a verbal warning first and then a,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Should be,
I think I read that somewhere.
that's almost his same membership group.
Okay. Is there any interest in considering the parent being the adult?
That's how it's stated.
Okay, I'm gonna have to I read this last night.
Yes, it says that actually. I found that in here. Under 16.
Okay.
And for what it's worth, that one in Omaha is also not manned 24/7. He has just mobile access from his phone, and he does check in a couple hours a day. That hasn't really been a problem for them at this point.
He also told me he's only got approximately 60 members. As of today, I've only got about 20.
Okay.
Difference in size of community.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me?
This will be our first Class M license for Scottsbluff.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
They're kind of unusual. We didn't, at least I didn't even know about these.
Yeah.
Kevin, did you have anything you wanted to add in addition to any of that?
Terry did appear before the Liquor License Investigatory Board, but this was such an unusual license that they really assigned the police department to investigate this and gather information to present tonight. So they didn't take any action. They didn't feel like they had enough information to make a decision. So it doesn't mean they were in favor of it one way or another. They just didn't know, so.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Any other public comments?
I'd like to ask
or
Terry just a
questions?
couple quick questions. I did see in here, Terry, where it said you're gonna be open 24/7, but you're not gonna allow liquor from 6 a.m.
1 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. to 6
It's in
a.m.
bold print right
Yep,
on the very
yep.
first page.
Good. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding that correctly. And then the youth league you wanna start, would you consider doing something like they talked about that other one where it was a non-alcohol time?
Well, it's basically stipulated in there, I
Is it?
believe, on the very first page, that anything can change to this
Right.
agreement. I can
Yeah.
change it any given
Yep.
time I want. So, if I would get a junior league going, I don't think it'll be towards the tail end of the year.
Right.
Yes, I could just say, no alcohol's
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other public comments? Okay, we have exhibits.
We have exhibit number 1, the application of T&A Investments LLC doing business as G&T Billiards Unlimited, located at 1223 3rd Avenue in Scottsbluff. Exhibit number 2, the city council checklist. Exhibit number 3, the written statement of police chief. Exhibit number 4, the written statement of city clerk. And exhibit number 5, the written statement of development services.
Okay. So I'll close the public hearing. Okay, council to discuss and consider action on making a recommendation to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission regarding the Class M Bottle Club liquor license for T&A Investments LLC, DBA G&T Billiards Unlimited, and naming Terry Schaub as the liquor license manager.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, a positive recommendation.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? Okay, Kim?
Solomon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Okay. Petitions, communications, and public input. Council to discuss and consider action on approving a community cleanup effort directed by Randy Meininger on Saturday, April 26th.
Honorable Mayor and distinguished council, thank you for the opportunity to come before you tonight. My name is Randy Meininger and live at 3401 Avenue H, Scottsbluff, Nebraska. And with me tonight is Tony Kaufman. And Tony and I have been working for quite a while to look at what can we do in our community for a positive event, and we're wanting to get your approval and blessings to move forward for a community cleanup day. There's several things that we want to look at together as leaders in our community. Number one, we want a clean community. Number two, if you look across the nation of what's happened with some of the natural disasters, we need to be prepared in our community to work through a natural disaster or any type of disaster, and we need to be prepared for that. It's not a matter of if it happens, it's when it's going to happen. So that's one of our other things that we want to work towards. The other thing is we want to look at what organizations and what can we bring to the table from the different churches through the community, and with their churches, what we can do to come together as a community to be part of the incident command. So our proposal to you that we're looking for approval is that on April 26th from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, that'll be a Saturday. That week would normally be the going green or community cleanup. And we're asking Gearing to open up the landfill for that day. We want to take our emergency management, especially since we have a new manager. So we've been working with Rob Crowder, emergency management. We want to work with him. We'll be working with the Blue Cell Group, and we want to mentor and train people to be incident commanders, public information officers, operations liaison, safety, and planning. So with that, we can take a cleanup day, and we're basically looking from 42nd Street to the Heartland Express, north and south, and then from 21st Avenue to about the Farm and Ranch Museum, draw a line across north, so big area. If a tornado hit, we would be looking at the same thing. How do we clean up that? So use the incident command, use the Blue Cell Group to train, use our leaders in our community that are trained in emergency management to mentor others, use that as a training event, which falls into part of our PET, planning, education, and training projects for our community. And then Tony and I are working with all of the churches to, or will be working with them over the next several months, to ask for volunteers, people that can help in different capacities, because we got to remember that not only do we want to clean up, but we have to feed people. We have to make sure that we have the logistics with that. That's all part of the incident management system. So with that, we end up with taking mentors from our community, training them up and teaching others to be in that emergency management operations and that incident management. We get the churches working together and the volunteers, which would come together. We know if we had a true disaster in our area, but we don't want it to be chaotic. We want to use the training exercise to do this. So we'll have a clean community, incident management, get people working together. And so that's what we're proposing, asking. Now, we don't have it all planned out yet because that's part of the incident management. We are meeting on a regular basis because we want to bring that planning sector in now and start working through that, through the logistics with everything. So tonight, we're asking for your approval to move forward with this project.
So let me just make sure I understand correctly. You're gonna do a cleanup of the community of debris and junk that's around, but also in addition, you'll work in this training in the process?
Yes, so in other words, if I was part of the operations and I was hungry, well, I got two choices. I can go rogue and get my own food, or I use emergency management and use the instant command to call back to command to find out who's in charge of food and how am I gonna get food to myself or to whoever the group is that's working to that sector.
Okay.
So we're using the community cleanup as the exercise.
Practice.
But mentor our people into those 6 boxes to help train those. Because over the last 3-4 years, we've had a lot of people retire that normally filled those boxes. And it's time that we help train others to be into that.
Okay.
Well, I think this is probably one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time because it accomplishes 2 things, and it's a perfect opportunity to incorporate NIMS and the ICS in a non-stress real incident. And I would wholeheartedly support it. And I would even encourage any of us to go to probably the most likely place would be the command post location to see how things work. If there's a real problem in the city or the community, because it'll be a great learning opportunity for folks too. So I would support it, and we'll make a motion that when it's time to just support, I guess just a motion to support. Is that all that you're asking that we need to do?
Thank you for your support.
Is this the first time we've done this?
As far as I'm aware, it's the first time that we've done it.
Okay.
And there will be some training opportunities for key positions in the meantime, and it's gonna be an opportunity to kind of clean up the community too. So that seems to come up every spring.
Yeah.
So
Is
this
there-
will accomplish that too.
Is there limitations on like what you're cleaning up or?
That's
Because I
a-
could see people using it as
That's a great question, and there's a couple things we have to look about as we're looking at this for an exercise. As of right now, tonight, we're not looking at taking back hazardous materials. We've got a couple more hoops to go through to see whether we take tires, white goods, we've got that taken care of. So we're working through those processes of what exactly we're gonna take in. And again, part of our mentorship is to bring that planning person that would normally be working in a real disaster aside us now and start working through these phases. If you really look through the nation of when a disaster hits, typically your disasters fall into the fire, medical, police. This one's gonna fall more into public works if you had a disaster come through in a tornado. So we're gonna rely a little bit more in this exercise on public works to how do you make those streets safe? How do you get through that? And again, right now our thoughts is we don't want any of the volunteers in anybody else's houses the day of the event. So that would be a good time for the congregation or the parishes to be able to say, if my mom has a freezer in the basement, let that church group get that out and get it to a place where we can pick it up. And then we've already worked with Rob with the radio system and everything to be able to have good comms through the organization and everything. So we're pretty excited about it. It's a big audacious project. But
From the city side of things, you'd probably need, I assume, sanitation truck or two because you're gonna be gathering so much material.
I can't answer that yet.
Okay.
I don't foresee us at this point bringing sanitation trucks that would normally be picking up dumpsters on a routine basis. I can envision having volunteers that are providing pickups and trailers and businesses that have semis with dump trailers that would participate in this.
Okay.
Because one of our focuses is to be able to manage our volunteer base to be able to help our community and not rely so much from Mark and all his crew that what they do day to day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's multifaceted to this, but we're pretty excited with it.
Okay.
So one of Jeannie's questions prompted another question in my mind. So, see, I'm thinking of my chemistry teacher and
Sure.
at the time NWCC, now WNCC, and his family finds some crystallized citric acid or something, and they set it out. Is there, are you gonna think about some kind of a plan that you weren't supposed to do this, but you did, and so now we gotta deal with it?
Sure. That's an excellent question. So let me sum it up and make sure I'm capturing what you're asking. So we're telling no hazardous waste, but if my mother says, I don't know what this is, and it's a nasty something, and puts it along the sidewalk for us to pick up, how would we do that? And what I would go back to is in a true disaster situation in incident command, if we came across that, we would need to do some training, which we will be doing training prior to this. The volunteer identifies it, lets his section leader know it, and then we'd go back to the fire department to say, we have don't know what this is, don't touch, walk away, and then we'd bring in the ones that do know how to handle it. So
Awareness training for volunteers to stay out of trouble.
Yep, and that is part of our planning with this, is that we will have several sessions of training prior to this.
And Randy, is the plan then, like I think what you said was have people bringing stuff out and putting it at the curb for pickup, or are they gonna be taking it somewhere?
Well, I have some vision of that, so I don't want to string you down a
Sure.
deal of it has to fit in this bucket.
Right.
But we know that the landfill site will be opened that whole time for us to be able to bring things to. We know where the white goods are going already.
Okay.
We know where the tires will go, and if we go down that path. So as we pick up that stuff, we'll just get rid of that right away and deal with that.
And what are the white goods?
That would be your washer, your dryer, your electronic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appliances.
Yeah, appliances. Yeah. That
Okay.
type of thing.
Kevin, you have any other comments? you want us to-
I would just add, I think this is a great project. We are applying for an EPA grant. It's up to $75,000, so we know that this is gonna require some funds. I think this is a perfect project for that grant. So I think the grant's due by January 26th, so we should know shortly after that. I think Rob is checking with the Pet region to see if there's some funds available there. So I think this is a great project.
Okay.
So if those weren't available under the grant that you just described, is there any other funds that are not specifically
We would hope that
encumbered?
the Pet region would have some funds available. If they weren't available, we would look in our budget and see where we could find some funds. I'm sure we could. It would probably be a great project for Keno. And we do have some Keno funds that we could contribute. So we would find the money.
Okay.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
Thank you, Reed.
So I'm asking for your vote of approval and to move forward with the project.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other comments, anything you want to add? Okay. Have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, discussion? I think it's a wonderful project as well. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Okay, Solomon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Okay. Bids and awards. Council to consider the professional engineering firm of MC Schaff and Associates to provide professional engineering services for the Safe Streets for All implementation project for the city of Scottsbluff.
This is our only response we received, and it's MC Schaff. We feel really good about having them on board to do this work for us. They're doing this in Sydney, and they're a little bit ahead of us down there, so they're getting this all figured out down there and then bringing it back here. So we feel really comfortable about it. We've been in the planning phase. We're about to move into the demonstration phase. The Safe Streets grant is, we were awarded $240,000 and we have to contribute 60. So they'll take a very strong look at, and we'll be able to influence this, probably at the Highway 26 corridor. And our school zones will be a priority as well.
Good.
I would expect them to take a good look on Avenue I, in front of Walmart, and clear down to Overland actually, and probably the Beltline. But we'll be able to influence those decisions along the way.
So it's traffic flow analysis, and then do they also look up, do they have records of all the wrecks and where they occurred? You guys have records of all that?
We do. We have access to all that information. So, matter of fact, we've provided MC Schaff with that information not long ago as we were working on Highway 26.
Okay.
But we'll obviously refresh that, make sure they have the most current data. So, and that's, in today's world, that's pretty easy to get access to.
How often do we do traffic flow studies in the city?
You know, the state does that. We do it as needed. I don't think we've done one recently, have we?
Not city, the state.
Yeah, the state
State
does.
counties out there with that. So you'll have that data coming here in the next 6 months.
And I assume with this report, then that would help us with the goal we've had to try and get the state to allow us to do some improvements on Highway 26.
I would absolutely hope so.
That'd be
Yes,
good.
it's gonna be pretty strong.
Okay.
There's another part of this, there's a different grant called the implementation grant, and there's still a lot of money available at the federal level to apply for that too. So once we have this plan in place, we can apply for that grant and start some implementation.
Okay, that would help.
So
Yeah.
the whole goal is to reduce accidents and injuries and deaths.
Now, it looks like a part of this is also to get feedback from the public.
Yes,
Like,
there will be-
Yeah, so it's
yes.
gathering, reviewing the data, talking to people, looking
Yeah.
at the streets,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
So Kevin, one item for improvement that someone had brought up, and you said there's implementation money available, is someone had asked if maybe on the intersections with the most wrecks, if we could have cameras that are always recording, that we would have visual data when a wreck happens.
Yeah, that's very possible. We have them at 31st and Avenue I, 33rd and Avenue I. A lot of the cameras that you see at these intersections are just detecting motion. So it'll sense when a car's stopped for a red light, cycle the lights, or it'll sense when there's not a car. So a lot of those aren't recorded, but we do have some. But when we go to implementation, we could do that.
It would help with traffic, accident reconstruction.
Sometimes you run into trouble managing that information, and it takes time and people to go back and gather that, but yeah, we certainly can.
Storage space.
Yeah.
They're very expensive too, aren't they?
They
The
are.
cameras.
Yes, the traffic signal cameras, in order to record that data, was fairly pricey. The cameras at 31st and 33rd are something we had a local vendor put up at the intersections, and they work fine.
Okay, all right.
So, but yeah, all of that's possible today.
Okay.
We have cameras anywhere.
Well, I'm not sure what the exact terms they used were, but I like the idea that through the identification of problems, there's a kind of a mechanism to pick off the lowest hanging fruits and the affordable and reasonable things that are kind of like no-brainers, maybe. That there's a mechanism to do that, and that's I think I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, you'll see this addressed in our comprehensive plan as well, but it'll be a very broad look at traffic flows and stuff like that. This is gonna really get down into the weeds and give us some good potential improvements.
That was gonna be the next question. Is it gonna, it doesn't seem like it might be done in time enough to fully inform the comprehensive plan?
They're aware of each other and they're gonna be working together and sharing information. They don't wanna duplicate services, so, yep. MC Shaft is, if you award this to them, is very aware of the firm that's doing the comp plan.
Okay.
So, yep.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay. Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
I'll second.
Any other comments? Okay, Kim?
Stricker,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Okay, reports from staff, boards, and commissions. Council to discuss and consider action on authorizing the mayor to sign the certificate of compliance for year 2024 as per the maintenance agreement number 22 with the Nebraska Department of Transportation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At your last meeting, you approved the maintenance agreement for 25 with the state. And this is the certificate of compliance for the year 24. So all the things on 25, we did in 24. And so by signing this, then we can get paid by the state for the services that we provided.
It's everything on Highway 26.
From I to East Overland, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and this just certifies we did those things.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Any questions? Okay, have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, anything else? Okay, Kim?
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
Okay, council to discuss and consider action on the second amendment to the City of Scottsbluff Firefighters Retirement Plan and Trust and authorize the mayor to sign the amendment and resolution.
Yeah, Your Honor and Council, last session, the legislature passed some incremental increases in the firefighters' retirement plan. And we've worked with Baird Homes, some attorneys, and came up with the resolution. And so this brings us into compliance. We're not out of compliance, but this keeps us in compliance with state statutes, so.
How much was the increase?
It's incremental. I think it goes up 1% this year and 1% the next year for a total of 15%. It is kind of unusual in that some years ago, the fire departments opted out of Social Security. So you got to take that into consideration as well.
So when you say it comes in compliance with the new legislation, did that legislation mandate these increases or authorize them?
They're mandates. We have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a choice.
Okay.
Any city of the first class with a full-time
Yeah.
fire department has to implement these changes.
That's what it seemed to infer, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to be sure.
They
What is-
also define compensation, which we changed in our plan. And then we do not have an absolute coverage group.
I was gonna ask, what is that?
That was an old concept in a prior legislation and act that authorized the retirement plan in and of itself. But we have no members who are in that absolute coverage group anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So this is our current firefighters essentially.
So the 15%, is it a split between the employee and
Well,
the city?
as you can see, there's percentages of that employees are required to contribute, and then the city. 15% is actually the city's contribution.
Oh, okay.
The firefighters themselves have, I think it starts at 6.7% and goes up to 7, I can't remember.
I can't either.
It's a good
Six
retirement.
6.5
to
to
8.7
8.7.
for the first year,
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
then another 1.5 or something like that.
but they don't have social security.
Yep.
So that percentage is out, but those are mandated in the LB that was passed.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay. A motion to approve,
Make a motion to approve.
a second,
I'll second it.
okay. Kim?
Vidlac,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Okay, council reports. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting.
So, quick one on Mains of Sales, Scott will be taking that over, but, for the year, they had about 800 dogs, and the cats, it was about 780. So a lot of use throughout the year, hopefully a lot of adoptions. The zoo for November, with the bear event and, tiger being introduced, they had 850 visitors. December, the Christmas lights, over the weekends that they did Christmas lights, they had 775 people. They raised $7,000. And then as an extra bonus in December, they had $11,000 in individual donations. So that's all healthy and good. And then they're putting them out of use right away because the tiger's hungry, so they've had to increase the amount of food he eats. He's up to 20 pounds a day. So he's a healthy eater, like a teenage boy, I guess. So he's eating like crazy. Yeah, so he's doing good.
Yeah.
Saw some pictures of him playing with his ball in the snow.
Yeah,
He's having a good time.
yep.
Anyone else?
I got a couple
Yep.
things. Wanted to introduce, they've been before you before, but Captain Kite and Captain Brass, they're both going to be interim police chiefs, so they're gonna be sharing the duties. So wanted you guys to hear that from me. Lane Miller, down at the end, she's gonna be working towards becoming the deputy clerk. So you'll be seeing her at the end of this table every now and then, so.
Okay,
Okay. Thanks for the M&M's, Matt.
yep. Congratulations on your
Yeah,
retirement.
that's what I was gonna say. The one, a few of us at least attended was, a little retirement celebration for you for
Thank you.
your work with the PD. That was very nice.
I'm still adjusting, so
I
it's
bet.
pretty strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing was I was asked to do a presentation at the Lions Club last month, and so I did do that, and that was very nice. They were very sweet. I enjoyed that. So, nobody else? Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay,
Phillips,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Vidlac.
yes.